This is the Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation. Sa Bagong Pilipinas.
Una-una po, for the record, all evidence points that there was no attack on the Senate. I would like to repeat, all evidence points that there was no attack on the Senate.
Headline: CCTV footages on the Senate shooting are out. A series of events unfolded with warning shots first fired by Sergeant-at-Arms Aplaska.
House prosecution panel gears up for the impeachment trial, confident that Vice President Sara Duterte will be convicted.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reaffirms commitment to deepen economic and trade ties with the United States.
And processes on business closure have now been simplified under a new tax reform. All these and more here on 13 News.
Good evening, I am William Thio. We are bringing you the day's top stories that shape the country, straightforward, clear, and concise.
Under one flag with 3 mandates to inform, explain, and empower the nation. This is
13 News. First in the news tonight, the House prosecution team is now ready for a full-blown Senate impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte. The 11-member panel is confident it can secure a conviction. IBC News correspondent Earl Tobias filed this report.
The 11-member House prosecution panel has expressed unshaken confidence that Vice President Sara Duterte will be convicted by the Senate Impeachment Court. The panel reiterated that the evidence it will unravel during the trial will prove the Vice President's guilt on the 4 articles of impeachment filed against her. Prosecutors also declared that they are not intimidated by the possibility that some senator judges may attempt to block the presentation of evidence against VP Sara.
Kung haharangin ang ebidensya namin, remember that we are not the ones in trial. Ihuhusgahan din ng bayan ang ating mga senator judges. And while we will give them utmost respect, siguradong ang pagtingin ng taong bayan sa isang impeachment court na hindi papayag na ilabas ang ebidensya ay makapagbabago ng damdamin ng mga Pilipino.
The prosecution panel will also pursue to open the sealed BIR box containing the tax records of VP Sara and her husband, Attorney Man Scarpio.
Kasama din po dito yung pagbubukas ng pong bank accounts ng pong mag-asawang Duterte Carpio. Tingin ko naman po, on unexplained wealth pa lang po, we can secure a conviction.
The panel also said it is not concerned about the petition filed by the Vice President before the Supreme Court, questioning the impeachment process. Prosecutors maintained that the Senate already has jurisdiction over the case, adding that the Vice President should now just personally face the impeachment court.
What is being mandated to be forthwith is the trial. And by trial, it means presentation of evidence, presentation of witness, and which will lead to the decision of the impeachment court of either acquittal or conviction.
So accountability po ang end-all and be-all nito.
The prosecution panel has also finalized the designation of the 4 articles of impeachment. Article 1 of the impeachment complaint, which points out the misuse of OVP and DepEd confidential funds, will be handled by lead prosecutor Jinky Luistro. Article 2, which proves the alleged unexplained and ill-gotten wealth of the Vice President, will be led by prosecutor and House Public Accounts Committee Chairperson Terry Ridon. Article 3 of the unearthed system of bribery inside the Department of Education will be led by prosecutor and Good Government Committee Chairperson Joel Chua. While Article 4, which establishes the grave threats committed by VP Sara against the life of the President, the First Lady, and the former House Speaker, will be led by prosecutor Lawrence Defensor of Iloilo. Meanwhile, one of the newly delegated Mindanaoan House Prosecutor, Representative Lordon Suwan of Cagayan de Oro, has stood firm on his decision to join the prosecution, saying it shows that his constituency from Mindanao is a proof that they are all in for accountability.
My being a Mindanaoan is precisely the reason why I take this duty very seriously. Because we're not just talking about the people's money, we're also talking about the taxpayers that Mindanaoans are paying. And I believe that no region, whether it is Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao, no family, no official should be elevated above the Constitution.
The prosecution panel has also formally filed its entry of appearance before the Senate Impeachment Court. And in unison, they now stand that the trial by Senate shall forthwith proceed. Earl Tobias, IBC News.
After a 6-day investigation, DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla says all evidence indicates there was no attack in the Senate last week.
CCTV footage from the Senate shows Sergeant-at-Arms Mau Aplasca firing warning shots and multiple gunshots at a door where an alleged NBI agent was reportedly seen. IBC News correspondent Harley Valbuena has the full details in this report.
Una-una po, for the record, all evidence points that there was no attack on the Senate. I would like to repeat, all evidence points that there was no attack on the Senate.
This was stressed by DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla after the 6-day full investigation on the gun-related incident in the Senate last May 13. In a press briefing in Malacanang, CCTV footages from the incident were shown where NBI agents were first seen within the vicinity of the Government Service Insurance System or GSIS. DILG said the NBI's presence is to secure the GSIS and their millions of pesos worth of artworks. In a disclosed document, it states that a security coordination meeting between the Office of the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms and GSIS were held on May 12 prior to the day of the incident, and that the OSAA was already aware of the drilling to be done on the entrances of GSIS to fortify and secure them. But in the next footages, suspended Senate Sergeant-at-Arms Mau Aplasca was seen assembling the OSAA personnel along with the police and Marines in the Senate, ordering them to lock and load before proceeding to the hallway towards GSIS. After a few seconds, the shooting happened. Based on the investigation, Aplasca was the one shooting from a window as seen on this footage.
Testimony of General Aplasca himself, he opened the door and he asked, "Sino ka?" The agent identified himself as NBI. Shortly thereafter, he fired 3 shots. Not exactly to the direction, but 3 shots towards the to the vicinity of the NBI agent.
While NBI agents answered with cover fire, they are seen retreating back inside the GSIS. Also shown is this separate footage of the shooting incident from inside the Senate. According to Secretary Remulla, 4 personalities were initially identified to have fired the gunshots, including Aplasca, 2 members of OSAA, and an NBI agent. Remulla also questioned why Aplasca did all of these actions in front of the media personnel in the Senate.
In normal situations, if there is a perceived confrontation, you will clear the building of all personnel because of possible stray fire. However, he allowed them to follow.
The full investigation report was already turned over to the Department of Justice, which will now conduct a more comprehensive probe to identify those who are liable and accountable.
The DOJ will not take this as is, no? We will check on the timelines, we will check on the source of the videos and everything. Kasi sa dulo nito, kailangan yung katotohanan lang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. were also already informed of the result of the investigation. Harley Valbuena, IBC News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. welcomes U.S. Undersecretary Jacob Helberg at Malacanang, reaffirming both countries' commitment to deepen economic and trade cooperation. Discussions centered on key initiatives including the Luzon Economic Corridor, or LEC, which is expected to generate up to 1 million jobs and boost economic growth. The meeting comes as both countries mark the 80th anniversary of diplomatic relations and the 75th anniversary of the Mutual Defense Treaty. Also in Malacanang, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. officially administered the oath-taking of Kim Robert De Leon as the new acting secretary of the Department and Budget Management, or DBM. Prior to his appointment, De Leon served as the DBM Undersecretary from 2021 to 2022.
Senator Mark Villar is taking over the powerful Finance Committee as a major shakeup in Senate chairmanship continues. New names also emerged to head the Blue Ribbon panel investigating the flood control scandal. The full details from IBC News correspondent Daniel Manalastas.
Senate committee shakeup continues amid the change in Senate leadership. The powerful Senate Finance Committee will now be led by Senator Mark Villar. His predecessor, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, believes that Villar will get the job done.
Finance Committee kasi is a position of trust. Nung nahawakan ko ng 1 year, nakita ko yung power ng Finance Committee. Yan, for me, isa sa pinaka-powerful o kung hindi pinaka-powerful na committee dahil hawak mo yung pera ng buong bansa.
Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano meanwhile floated 2 names as possible next chairperson of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, which handles the flood control scandal investigation. They are Senators Pia Cayetano and Rodante Marcoleta.
Flood control lang. Now we have to investigate yung ginawa ng NBI. So sa rules pa namin ibibigay yan sa Blue Ribbon. Diba? So it's getting more complicated because nga of the events last week.
Several other committee chairpersons have also been named. Senator Joel Villanueva will lead the Committee on Higher Education. Senator Bongo will head both Health and Sports Committees. Senator Jinggoy Estrada will lead the Senate Committee on National Defense and the Games and Amusement as well. Senator Marcoleta will lead the Committee on Public Services previously held by Senator Raffy Tulfo. Senator Loren Legarda to lead the Committee on Basic Education. Daniel Manalastas, IBC News.
When we return, the Philippine Coast Guard challenges an unauthorized Chinese ship at Zambales coast. Stay tuned. This is 13 News.
Bagong Pilipinas. Mahalaga ang kapakanan ng bawat isa. Lahat ng aspeto ng lipunan pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng pamahalaan at ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Bagong Pilipinas, PBBM, Lingkod ng Bayan. Tuwing Linggo, alas 8:30 ng umaga.
The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, has detected and challenged the unauthorized presence of a Chinese vessel operating near Zambales coast.
Chinese Coast Guard CCG 4305, this is Philippine Coast Guard aircraft, PCG 302. You are advised that you are currently sailing within the Philippines approximately 39 nautical miles from the coastline of Zambales. In accordance with Republic Act 12064, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, the United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea.
The PCG issued radio challenges against a Chinese vessel as it is within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone or EEZ. However, the Chinese ship failed to provide legal justification for its presence. The PCG stressed that illegal patrols will not be tolerated, citing violations of international law and the 2016 arbitral ruling.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is set to push for stronger defense cooperation with Japan during his state visit next week. The chief executive is also expected to raise Japan's expanded role in regional security. IBC News correspondent Harley Valbuena tells us more.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will push for strengthened security cooperation between the Philippines and Japan on his upcoming Japan state visit next week. The president said he will discuss on his meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi the full implementation of two defense pacts of both countries, the Reciprocal Access Agreement, which gives way for joint military training and disaster response, and Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement for exchange of military logistics. The president also lauded Japan's participation at the recently concluded Balikatan exercises with the USA.
That is a significant development in terms of our continuing cooperations and training our personnel for further and better interoperability. This is all in the context of Japan's new posture in terms of defense and security.
Aside from military drills, the Philippines and Japan will also discuss possible information and technology sharing. Also in the agenda is the South China Sea dispute.
Japan and the Philippines have experienced the same difficulties in terms of coercive acts, in terms of different gray zone, shall we say, tactics that are being exercised in the South China Sea and in all of China Sea.
Meanwhile, President Marcos Jr. emphasized that he does not want the situation in Taiwan to escalate, as this will surely affect the Philippines as a neighboring country and will bring danger to the lives of hundreds of thousands of Filipinos living in the said Chinese territory. High-level engagements among foreign ministers of the Philippines and China also continue, with the Philippine government recognizing still the One China policy. Moreover, the president expects positive results towards peace on the recent visit of U.S. President Donald Trump in China. Harley Valbuena, IBC News.
Meanwhile, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, has issued a revenue memorandum introducing guidelines to ease business closure and tax registration cancellation. The BIR said the reform allows taxpayers who have ceased business operations to process smooth closure either manually or online through their registered revenue district office. Under the new reform, documentary requirements have been reduced, penalties for non-filing will no longer accrue, and tax clearances will be issued within 3 working days. Flooding has hit parts of southern Mindanao following a heavy downpour today. In Davao City, knee-deep floodwaters submerged a car along R. Castillo Street. A bridge connecting Calyawa and Mandug also collapsed due to the sudden rise of water. According to Pag-asa, expect a rainy week ahead. Southern Mindanao will continue to experience moderate to at times heavy rains due to the effects of the intertropical convergence zone. Meanwhile, easterlies will affect eastern sections of southern Luzon and Visayas, bringing partly cloudy to cloudy skies and isolated rain showers. Metro Manila and the rest of the country will continue to experience localized thunderstorms.
OPM band Cup of Joe is set to take the stage at Japan's Music Awards next month. The 5-member group is part of the international lineup for the Shibuya Sound Scramble event. In the meantime, the band is gearing up for their Sandali concert in Bulacan this Saturday. Meanwhile, Seoul-based band Wave to Earth is heading back to Manila this November. Just a year after their last visit, the group returns for their The Pieces World Tour. Teenagers opened fire at a mosque in San Diego, California, killing 3 people and later themselves. Before the shooting, one of the suspects' mother reported her son to authorities after noticing missing weapons and a vehicle. Around 100 law enforcement officers responded to the area. The suspects were later found 3 blocks away with self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Authorities are now investigating the incident as a possible hate crime. The World Health Organization continues its search for patient 0 of the new Ebola outbreak in Africa. According to WHO, the species of Ebola found in the Republic of Congo and Uganda has no licensed vaccine or treatment. Today, the Emergency Committee of the organization held a meeting to discuss measures to prevent further spread and deaths. The WHO has stressed the importance of international health regulations following the outbreaks of Ebola and hantavirus over the last 2 weeks.
Ebola and hantavirus in the past 2 weeks show why international threats need an international response. They show why the world needs the international health regulations.
Amid a hardcore game, one of San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunders in the NBA Western Conference Finals, Victor Wembanyama slammed some historic career highs during the match.
Now behind the plate, 5 on 4. Wemby's going to pull a deep 3. Oh my goodness! A logo.
The Spurs player posted a monstrous playoff record with 41 points, 24 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks while playing 49 minutes most of his basketball career. Wembanyama, along with the Spurs, celebrates his Game 1 win as they prepare for another match against the Thunders this week. Here are the results of the 9 p.m. draws from the PCSO. For the Lotto 642, the winning numbers are 15, 6, 31, 16, 22, and 25 with a jackpot price of 17,376,838 pesos and 36 centavos. For the Super Lotto 649, the winning combination is 49, 35, 44, 4, 14, and 5 with a jackpot price of 25 million pesos. For the Ultra Lotto 658, the winning combination is 6, 38, 9, 26, 48, and 14 with a jackpot prize of 75 million pesos. For the 6D Lotto, the winning combination in exact order is 5, 2, 4, 5, 5, and 1. For the 3D Lotto, the winning numbers are 4, 7, and 1. And finally, for the 2D Lotto draw, the winning numbers are 16 and 27. There is no winner for the Lotto 642, Super Lotto 649, and Ultra Lotto 658. Heads up, aspiring professionals. Tomorrow, May 20, the results of the dentist licensure exam will be posted. The Professional Regulation Commission will also announce the list of top-notchers and the top-performing schools.
Also tomorrow, we celebrate one of the smallest yet most important insects in nature, the bees. It is World Bee Day. They are the main pollinators of the ecosystem. Without bees, our environment would suffer greatly. I do like their honey.
Yes, I do too. I was just gonna say that. And depends on the pollen and the flowers they take the nectar from. Is also the taste of the honey
Really?
is rather different. Yes.
Oh,
actually.
I learn something new every day, huh?
And those were the latest from the IBC newsroom this evening.
We'll continue to monitor the stories that matter and bring you updates as they develop. I'm Angela C.
And I'm William Thio. This is 13 News. Have a great evening, everyone.